Hi there, my name is Jussi Sjölund and I'm the producer of this film. Orkla is the river where my passion for salmon began for over 15 years ago. Join us on fly fishing for the Norwegian salmon.
The water falls on its way to the sea, gives its message to the salmon, an invitation to visit the river, to follow the laws of nature. The water sends a message to us as well, in its whispering, roaring voice. Man and nature meet in the night, and another love is awakened. The long winter is over, and spring has turned to summer. Fly fishermen from near and far have made their way to Orkla, to be on the spot when the salmon fishing season begins. The silence and stillness of the river have been replaced by tense expectancy, expectations that are soon to be met. For many, the start of the season is important, and on some stretches it's the companionship that draws people to the river. The locals throng the river to see how the year's first salmon will be caught. This is one picture of the premiere. Meeting your friends by the river, maybe at a campsite. Now able to swing your rod and make your first cast at midnight on the first day of June, just as people have done for generations. The long winter's over, and the salmon and the fishermen have returned to Orkla. Another sort of premiere is that of the lone fisherman, waiting by the campfire for the stroke of 12. He's far from the excited crowds you find on some stretches, but the expectation is just as great. Maybe I'll have a good salmon season this year. Fishing in June demands patience, and bites are few and far between. The fish are in peak condition, and it's now, in June, that you've got the chance to catch a really big salmon. And this is why so many fishermen are here, to meet and greet the first salmon of Orkla.
Skal ikke smile når du fisker. Det her er alvor. Det som har stått med for hver 2-3 dager.
Du har ett sliv åt det här.
Ikke sånn det går.
Orkla is one of Norway's best salmon rivers. Its size and character make it ideal for fly fishing. It's 80 kilometres from the sea to Steinfossen, where the salmon meet a natural barrier. Up here the river is narrower and flows through a deep ravine. Further down, the valley becomes wider and the river flows in peace for a while, only to be squeezed into one of the river's narrowest passages at Merk. At the end of a narrow ravine, the water's compressed between high cliffs, framing the river dramatically. In Meldal, the valley broadens again, and the river meanders slowly between the surrounding mountains. Slow stretches and short rapids intermingle with long, calm passages. Between Storås and Svorkmo, Orkla offers faster waters and a narrow, stony trough, which then flattens out on its way to the sea. The last 3 kilometres are a tidal area, and fishing is dictated by the ebb and flow, with water levels and currents changing rapidly and powerfully. The river's wide, and the gravel shoals move with every high tide, the river sometimes finding a new course.
Linan går snett uppåt, så det där konstigt det såg ut. Ja, det där var fisken. Där hur linan går, han var där uppe. Det blir samma resa igen, nu är han på väg uppåt igen. Ja! Där satt han.
Grattis!
Orkla lax. Säsongens första.
Some fishermen come to the river by themselves, some with their friends, but many come with their families, which is why other exciting activities can be of interest. A few kilometres from the river is the Luckenworks, the terminus of the Thamshavbanen. This was Norway's first electrified railway, transporting both passengers and metal ores. Tourists can travel in time using the same carriages as were used at the opening in 1908.
Det var det å finne rett flue, vet du.
Jeg har ikke noe... Vet du, i Gøvla fisker jeg med bare enkrokinger.
Ser du det?
Ja. Den blir fin, vet du.
Nå har vi altså satt på en telemarkskonge. Så nå blir det telemarking mot
Trønder.
Det blir bra. Så rogalending bak stangen, da
Da
blir det topp.
2-handed rods are normally used for salmon fishing, but modern rods have improved greatly, so that more and more fishermen use shorter one-handed rods. You find that you get a better feel when fishing, and above all, you get closer to the salmon when it's taken the fly.
Jeg får pynte meg til laksen min. Dette var finalen. Og jeg tror det får bli med, så skal det bli røkelaks.
Han tok noe aldeles sinnssvakt hardt. Ja.
The remains of old mines can be found all over the valley. In New Plassen, there are the remains of an old foundry, used for 100 years. It was started in 1664, when the first foundry in Svorkmo couldn't cope with all the iron ore produced. The ore was hauled, using horses, from the Hoydal mine and the mine in Lucken Works, which is now open for visitors. In the old mine, known as the Cathedral of Toil, you can see how the miners struggled with the ore in the 17th and 18th centuries. The largest cavern, Fagerli Hall, is 15 metres high. The miners carried 40 to 50 kilos of ore at a time on their backs, and over 1 million trips would have been needed just to create this cavern. The hall is used for concerts today, as the acoustics are excellent. The repertoire includes traditional Norwegian folk music. Campsites are often associated with fishing on the Norwegian salmon rivers. Many a salmon fisherman has started his passion on a campsite. Even Orkla offers a genuine fishing camp where you can meet your soulmates. Companionship and socialising on the riverbank is an important part of fishing. Experienced fishermen share their knowledge, while every day someone learns personally about landing his first salmon.
Hva? Nej, Paul, det kan jeg ikke. Det kan jeg ikke holde til stangen. Mener du? Hva? Hvad siger du? Sådan, mand! Åh, den er flot, mand! Ja! Sådan, mand! Så lad give den godt. Den er flot, mand. Sådan. Det var fedt, mand. Jeg var alligevel ude, så tror den røg dengang. Jeg tager aldrig nogensinde min spillestang brug igen.
Orkla er en veldig fin fluefiskeelv, og mange opplever å komme hit og oppleve et skikkelig bra fluefiske. Samtidig så er det en del råd som det går an å ta med seg for å gjøre sjansene enda større for å få et skikkelig bra fiske. Og når det gjelder fluefiske, så er det å variere fiskemetode. Fluer, flueline etter forhold som er veldig viktig. Ikke gå med samme fiskemetode dag etter dag, likeens. Den vanlige oppfatningen her i dalen er at vil laksen ta og vil den bite, så gjør den det. Det blir feil. Det er helt unaturlig at laksen egentlig skal ta flua. Vi må prøve å få fisket flua på en måte som gjør at laksen blir helt tvunget til å ta. Vi må gjøre det så interessant som overhodet mulig. Og da er det veldig viktig å få variert fiskemåten.
The delight in catching a salmon often overshadows the hundreds of hours of labour which result in nothing, but we seldom mention that. And then there are the disappointments of a missed bite or a dropped catch.
Tog så jävla knepet där då, precis när han kom innan han rätade ut sig. Tight line.
But that's all part of the joy of salmon fishing. You never know how it's going to end. And there are many who only ever enjoy their salmon for an oh so short time.
Släpp den. Vad fan, han vill ju inte gå.
When battle is joined, the fisherman can never be really certain of the outcome. Experience says that anything can happen until the salmon is landed. Just because you've caught a fish doesn't mean you have to kill it. You can carefully return it to the river, allowing it to continue its journey to the spawning grounds. Remember, it's the fight and the bite that are the real pleasure.
Kommer du til Orkla og usikker på hvilken flue du skal bruke, så blir det I hvert fall ikke feil hvis du tenker på at du kan ta en svart flue. Hovedfargen I Orkla, som I mange andre elver, det svart. Og tidlig på sesongen så bruker vi store fluer. Ofte ulike versjoner av Sunny Shadow. Blir det skikkelig flomelv, at elva skikkelig brun, til gangs, så går vi over på den flomelvflua her som fisker meget effektivt. Senere på sesongen så blir fluemønstre mindre. Jeg selv bruker veldig mye kaninfluer. Og den størrelsen her, men også atskillig mindre fluer. Det beste rådet jeg kan gi, I hvert fall til dere som fisker sent på sesongen, når dere ser mye laks oppe I hørn og han vil ikke bite, hoppe bare og ikke antydning, det å sette på denne Alice Shrimp, utrolig effektiv på treg augustlaks. Du kan bruke den hele sesongen når elva brun. Det et kjemperåd. Prøv den.
The marvels of nature are often illustrated with wide, magnificent views, which you can certainly find in Orkla. But there's another dimension to nature closer at hand. Sit on the riverbank, look at the water, the stones and the grass, and feel how close you really are to nature. Leif Stävmo has travelled the world in search of exciting fishing, but he belongs to the group of fishermen who has regularly visited Orkla, and he returns every year to face Orkla's pugnacious salmon. Over the years, Leif has gained enormous experience of salmon fishing, but he still gets an extra thrill on returning to the salmon waters closest to his heart. You know that the fly is important for the fisherman, and you often hear the question, what fly did you use when a salmon has been caught? Many fishermen in Orkla have a great deal of fishing experience, and we must of course take advantage of their advice about flies.
Etter å ha fisket I Orkla I over 15 år har jeg kommet frem til noen favoritter. Her har vi en som jeg har komponert selv, som heter for Lilla Trond. Jeg har også en annen flue her som jeg vil vise frem, som vi har fått veldig mye laks på, som heter Battakorva. Her en utgave med conehead. Denne flua veldig bra på litt grumsete elv, men også I sollys har vi fått mange fiskar på den.
Jag har fiskat här vid Orkla sedan slutet av 60-talet I obruten följd. Och då har man fått fram några favoriter under årens lopp. Och några som har stått sig länge och kommer att fortsätta, det ju den här rastirett som jag har tagit storlaxar på. Till och med på enkelkrokad variant, krokstorlek 1,0.
Ja, her en av mine største favoritter. En utgave av Green Highlander. Der skulle vært en utgave av Black Green Highlander, men jeg har tatt så mange fisker på den at de svarte hårene på ryggen mangler. En bra flue på nygått blank junilaks i lysrike dager, sånn som det her, med solgløtt og blank elv.
Jeg har vært så heldig at jeg har fått fiska i Orkla siden midt på 60-tallet. Og i løpet av den tida har jeg funnet ut en del fluemodeller som har virka veldig bra, særlig i de periodene hvor det har regnet og vært brun elv. Og den største favoritten min fram til i år har faktisk vært denne her, som heter Orange Terrible.
It never gets completely dark during June and July, but salmon are less shy when protected by the darkness. This can provide a lot of exciting fights in the deep blue night.
Смотри.
The fishermen go in pilgrimage to the lower bridge in Orkanga to see the salmon circling around the river mouth and to discuss different theories explaining why they don't swim up the river. A lot of people think the salmon have stopped for good, but it's only natural that the salmon take a break in their long trek when they first meet fresh water. They carry on up the river and the space is filled with new fish from the sea. Sometimes you think it's still the same fish swimming around. Every time the flood tide presses up the river, the salmon are carried forward and onward. A few kilometres up the river, you can work out when the next salmon run will arrive, based on the time of the next high tide. Trond Syrstad has been able to confirm this connection over many years in the form of biting fish.
Kommer snart upp nu.
Orkla is a regulated river. This has been done in a very special way, by removing the power of the tributaries while leaving the main river untouched, except for an intake of water at Meldal. This has resulted in Orkla having a more even flow than unregulated rivers in the same area. NINA, the Norwegian Nature Conservancy, has carried out research on the salmon in Orkla for many years. One of the projects was to tag the salmon with radio transmitters in order to map the salmon's wanderings and to see how they were affected by artificial high tides. These high tides are created by releasing water from upstream dams. This is done when the water level in the river is low, thus encouraging the salmon to swim upstream. It's hoped that by following the radio signals, the researchers can decide if this artificial high tide really works. Orkla is one of the rivers where the Nature Conservancy has been active longest. Nils Arne Hvidsten is the researcher responsible for the salmon project.
Ja, nå står vi på Bjørsetsdammen i Meldal i Orkla. Og vi ser på kameraene som filmer laks som passerer her. Dette er en del av et prosjekt som Nina bedriver i Orkla, hvor vi da ser på smoltproduksjon og voksenlaksoppgangen. Det er for å finne ut hvor mange gytelaks som er nødvendig for å fylle opp elva med laks.
Jäklar. Ja, stor. Ja.
Not only has research developed, but even the information for fishermen has improved considerably. The Orkla River Association has a homepage on the internet with statistics, updated daily, about catches and other important information for fishermen. You can see catches per water, for a special week, or by size.
Detta var mycket roligt.
Catching your very first salmon is a very special event. And when it turns out to be a big one, the excitement is insufferable.
Jävlen är outtröttlig. Nu är nere på backen.
Eric fights on, and during the long drawn-out struggle, the weather's changed from sunshine to pouring rain. But nothing matters when you've got your first salmon on the end of the line.
Stor lax det här.
Kom upp och titta mot mig och bakom.
A 12-kilo salmon and a seriously happy fisherman.
Jag har min arm. Fan, jag har värsta kramperna i armen.
Langt nede i Orkla, der stimer den opp. Laksen fra Orkdalsfjorden. Det den sølvblanke skjønne som snart på topp. Med glinsende, svaiende hopp. Orkla, der det storlaksen går. Ved Orkla, der det liv hvert et år. Om du tar deg en tur ned ved brua, min venn, mimres der om en du kjenner igjen. Om de store vi mista, og små som vi fikk, ble dobbelt så store som ved sist. I Orkla, der det storlaksen går. Ved Orkla, der det liv hvert et år.
Orkla is the perfect river for the salmon fly fisherman. It's just the right size. You can quite easily cover most of the river and enjoy a sense of intimacy. Some parts of the river offer challenges, both for casting and wading techniques, but for the most part, access is easy. Access is one of Orkla's great advantages, offering a large number of alternatives to suit most tastes. Campsites have their own waters, and there are lots of fishing associations along the river with quite long waters, offering varied fishing experiences. Some associations have special fly fishing waters, but cooperation is the norm, and there's usually plenty of room. If you want your own stretch, there are a lot of options at different prices, but you need to book early, as many fishermen have regular bookings year after year. Orkla offers extensive fishing experiences, surrounded by exciting countryside, good comradeship, and above all, the chance of landing a salmon. Another cast, another chance to catch a salmon, and then it happens. The line goes taut, another salmon has taken the fly. Battle is joined. Visit Orkla in June to meet the first salmon of the year. Meet nature awakened in her youthful green. Come to Orkla in July to meet the great runs of salmon and grilse. Or come in August to meet the season's last salmon hurrying upstream. Come to Orkla alone to enjoy the peace and tranquility. Or come with your friends and family just to socialise. Come to meet the salmon in an exciting tussle, or just enjoy the countryside and the river life. Orkla always welcomes you, the fly fisherman's river.